APNC15 is your hashtag, and Alumni Powerhouse is your hashtag. So for all of you nerdy types. Okay, so without further ado, Ms. Shalita O'Neill.
Amazing family, welcome. Thank you so much. I mean, you could have been anywhere, but the fact that you have chosen to be here today and over the next couple of days means so much. My alumni family, wow. Take a look around, right? Look at each other. Okay, people have flown in from across the country. Alumni, adoptees have flown in from across the country to be here. And this is not everybody, right? So it's just everybody who got here on time and everything. You know what I'm saying? So I'm thanking you all for being here and being a part of the first annual Alumni Powerhouse Networking Conference. Clap that up. The first annual. This has not been done, right? Ever. Okay? You're talking about a national professional conference planned for alumni by alumni. Right? Right? We sit around tables and we sit in different rooms and conversations. We're part of coalitions. We're doing all these things, right? And the one thing that we always say is that we need to be at the table. We need to be included. We need to be a part of the conversation, not just a part of the conversation, but leading it, right? And I will tell you a little bit about how I got here, and as far as this work, and then to this point. So I'm an alumni, you know, aged out of foster care at 21, Maryland. You know, I grew up in Baltimore City, but I was in Baltimore County's system and aged out. And I knew different things. I knew information, resources that helped me to age out of foster care. And I pretty much kept my head down. I did what I was told, and you know, because you got to play the game. Like, you have to learn how to play the game and to be able to be successful. And so I did that, and I got information that my peers did not get. And I saw them flounder, right? I saw them trying to figure out what they were going to do when they aged out, and I didn't think that was fair. You know, because we have the right to behave a certain way when you're angry, when you're frustrated, when you've been torn from everything that you've known, and whether it's been good for you, you know, because everybody's situation in foster care is not negative, right? Mm-hmm. There's people who have come into foster care and has saved their lives, right? But then there's also those of us who have come into foster care have dealt with different things within it that we're like, man, you could have just left me home for all this, right? You know, for all of that. So I really wanted to make sure everybody has that information. It shouldn't be so, I'm not going to tell you this, I'm not going to tell you that because of how you're acting, because we have a right to act the way we act at whatever point. So I decided to start a nonprofit, and at that time it was called the Maryland Foster Youth Resource Center, because I knew of different resources and information was siloed. I wanted it all to come together, right? When I started, and now we're called Hope Forward. We did a rebranding about a year ago, and we're Hope Forward, but we're still doing the same work. But I wanted to bring that information together into one place, and I realized that once I started doing the work that there was a lot of gaps that needed bridging, right? I thought that there was all these resources out here for us, and I started to see that not so much. You know, there was certain resources that we could take advantage of, but we didn't know how to get there. So Hope Forward is the direct service piece, right? So we provide housing, help young people get connected to employment, whatever it is that they need when they age out up to the age of 25. And honestly, we have 30-year-olds that come to us needing support, and we still, I'm not gonna say, oh, you too old. No, so we help, you know, everybody alumni that comes that needs that support. But I also realized that in addition to the direct services, look at us, right? Look at yourself, take a selfie. Look at yourself. You are doing great things. We are doing great things across the country. We are working hard to change our lives and change the lives of others. So yes, we have issues when we age out. Yes, we have issues even when we're adopted and we're in loving homes. There's still a piece, a hole that sometimes you feel has not been filled. But we are doing great things, and so there's a transition. Yeah, we may have been a part of whatever statistics, whatever when we aged out. But we are doing great things, and I wanted to make sure that we had the support that we needed to excel, right? Because again, we sit around different tables and we're like, we need to be doing this, we need to be, doing that. Dr. John Sita, I don't know, anybody, alumni, say whoop if you know who he is. Whoop. Okay, Dr. John Sita, he's an alumni too, and from a different generation than I am, but he was experiencing some of the same issues, and he was speaking at an event, I want to say almost 2 years ago, and I was like, wow, the stuff that he's talking about, that he went through, and he's much older than me. I went through that, and then the young people that are coming behind me, they're going through that. What is the disconnect, right? It's not that we're not out here talking and letting people know what the issue is. So I asked him, I said, what do you think it is? And he said, well, just like AARP isn't, the head of AARP isn't a 20-year-old, like you have people that are heads of organizations who mean well, and we love them and we need them to do this work, but they're not alumni. Right? We alumni who are in positions where they can lead, or that they have what it takes and the skills to lead. We're not leading, right? So I said, well, why not? Well, maybe it's because we need the skills that we need. So that is why, I knew this needed to happen. This moment right here needed to happen, right? But that is what really pushed me to making sure that I reached out to make it happen, because we can be a resource to each other. We are not victims, right? We are strong, we are resilient, we have resources, and when we come together, it's powerful. And so I'm so glad that you all are here for this. And it's gonna be awesome next year, the year after that. But what I really want is for you all to, we've got people coming across the country, we've been Facebook friends, and some of y'all, you have Facebook names that ain't your real names, and so we calling you by your Facebook name. Listen, tell everybody your real name and network, and throughout this whole thing, exchange business cards. We can be supportive to each other. This is what I want this to be. And so I'm not gonna be up here forever. I think I took up more time than what I needed to take. But I just want to thank everybody for making this happen. The sponsors, we have so many sponsors when you saw it on the video, but just to name a couple, we got AHT Insurance in the house. We got Markel Insurance in the house. Steve Beyond the Lilo, who isn't here yet, but we've got him in the house. We've got CCAI, we've got Foster Care to Success, the Dave Thomas Foundation, the Annie E. Casey Foundation, Prince George's County Department of Social Services, Foster Focus Magazine. We've got so many people here in the room today. Department of DC Child and Family Services. Hey, whoop whoop. Hey, say holla, holla. Okay. I thank you all, and I thank all the speakers for coming. Listen, okay. I want to be bougie sometimes, and I want to be able to pay people to come and speak and pay airfare and all that stuff. This year I was not able to do it, but let me tell you, every speaker that is coming today to speak to you guys, they've come here on their own dime. So, everybody, what, Rhonda, KG, everybody, Chris, everybody, all the speakers in the room, Kevin, everybody has done it. Jamal, all right, get together. Look, Ashley, look, Annie E. Casey Foundation, yes. So, without further ado, what I want to do is I want to introduce you to an amazing young man, okay? Yeah, I say young man, we the same age, okay. Kevin Brown is going to come up here today and inspire you. Give him a hand. I met him back in 2007. That was some years ago through Foster Care Alumni of America, which is also a partner for this conference. iFoster is a partner for this conference. And ever since, I've just watched him, he build his brand, Legacy Thinking Labs. He's an author. He's just amazing. We are doing amazing things. Kevin Brown is doing amazing things. So he's going to come up here today and just talk to you about building the brand within. And so, Kevin,
yes.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Give him a hand, y'all. I love y'all.
y'all know I have to stay down here closer to the people. I can't get up on the stage. I'll take a hug though. Y'all saw that. Chris, you already know I don't like it. We have like a real sibling rivalry. So yeah, she's with me. 4 minutes. I'll own that. Wow. It's funny. It's an honor to be here in front of everybody, my foster care brothers and sisters. It's different, you know, I speak across the world, but being here in front of you guys like adults, I'm like, what am I gonna say? What am I gonna say? What am I gonna say? And I mean, all the way, I didn't sleep. I still haven't slept. I slept probably about 30 minutes. And it's like this excitement. I'm like, well, I can't tell my story. They know my story. We all have the same story, right? Being a foster kid, it's like, it's in your DNA. You know, if we see some extra food and it happens to make its way to our room, you know what I mean? Foster kid habits, you know what I mean? That resiliency factor, it all exists. So, like, what am I gonna say? What am I gonna say? And what I landed at was the power of the connections. I only got one job up here today. I see we're running a little bit behind schedule. 3 things: be good, be bold, be gone. Right? I only have those 3 things. So, what would I say? How did I get here? If you want my professional accomplishments, you could actually take a look at my bio, whatever. If you want my foster care story, I'll give it to you in a nutshell. 20-year-old mother, addicted to drugs, has baby boy born with drugs in his system, 9 months, goes into care with his older sister. Goes into care with his older sister, stays with her until he's 5. They get separated. Boy cries for 3 days. Foster parent doesn't eat. Foster parents call a social worker. Social worker puts the boy back with the sister. Now the boy's okay. 10 years old. The boy's older sister is allowed to go back to the biological family. Boy has to stay in foster care. Boy stays in foster care, has kind of like a nervous breakdown. He's been in a lot of trouble, in and out of mental institutions, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Right? Somewhere along that journey, he decides that to listen. Listens to a couple of mentors. The mentors say, hey, you have more to offer to the world. Why don't you apply or think about going to college if you want to create the life that you want and be able to move across the country? Boy starts to listen. A year later, accepted to over 26 colleges and universities. Decides that he's going to go to Clark Atlanta University, all the way across the country, 2,400 miles away from California. Lands there. Decides that he's going to create his life and become whoever he wants to be. Studies abroad in London. Plays on the men's basketball team. Graduates in the top 10% of his business class, magna cum laude, and with a double degree. Then from there decides, okay, I want to take it a little bit further. I want to be a host for MTV. Gets a hosting job for MTV. Hey, my talents are too big for Atlanta. Let me go to New York. In New York, couldn't find a job. Ends up sleeping on a train. All for the dream. Doesn't want to return back to the neighborhood as a foster child. I mean, as a statistic. I'm sorry. Always going to be a foster child. Love that. But foster care prepared me for that journey to get to my dreams. Then ends up getting a job at a clothing company. Manages a $500,000 budget for them. And then decides that, hey, I want to do something that actually has a profound effect on people who are like me. So then decides to start his own company. Now let's kill that story. You guys know about me. I think that everybody here, we're all like our own individual books. Right? We're all alumni of CARE, so now we're professionals, so now everybody sees the cover. But what about the pages between the book? All of this good content. This is us dressed up in our suits and our nice shirts and things like that right now with our makeup on and our hair cut fresh. I got a fresh haircut. You know, I see some other gentlemen do as well. Ladies have their hair done and stuff like that. But what about all of this stuff? This is what matters. This is what actually keeps us together. This is the family aspect of it. And that's why this conference is important. Because to be honest with you, if we had to break it down, I'm pretty sure you heard my story. Wow, big deal to us in the room. Other people would be like, oh my God, I can't believe you made that. I'm like, we're foster kids. This is light work.
Yeah.
Right? Clap it up if this is light work. Like, we did that. Right. So if we had to write a book, and let's just say we threw together a summary, we would only need 3 chapters in a poem.
That's it.
What's the poem? William Ernest Henley, Invictus. Out of the night that covers me, black as a pit from pole to pole. I thank whatever gods may be for this my unconquerable soul. In the fell clutch of circumstance, I have not winced nor cried aloud. Under the bludgeoning of chance, my head is bloody, but unbowed. Beyond this place of wrath and tears looms, but the horror of the shade, and the menace of the years finds and shall find me unafraid. It matters not how straight the gate, nor how charged with punishment the scroll. I am the master of my fate.
Yes.
We are the captain of our souls. We are the captain of our souls. Let that sink in. Then if we did 3 chapters, it'd be real simple. Labels. Material, brand. That's all we would need. Labels. Descriptive words given to us by other people, foster parents, peers, etc., etc. Those are the negative things. They can either be negative or positive. Looks like most of us listen to the positive, and that's how we ended up here. But then you go to the brand. What is that? That's that vision that we have for ourselves, the reason why we're in this room. That tenacity. So you got 2 types of people in this world, those who are labeled, those who are branded. Person who's labeled lets the world tell them who they are and what they're going to do with their lives. Person who's branded stands up and tells the world who they are and what they're going to do with their lives. But the difference between the two is us. Foster care children, the material that we're made up of. And that's those hard years, that's that consistently picking up when we've had to move somewhere else and we had to start over. It's that ability to keep going no matter what happens to us. That's us, that material. Denzel Washington said, on the road with your goals to get to your achievement is going to take discipline and consistency. I believe that he had 2/3 of it right. Because on the road to becoming who you want to be, you also have to be resilient. And that's the one thing that we have, I feel like, above anybody else. When you're looking around in this conference, you're looking at a group of people who can seriously do whatever it is that they want to do. Look at the entrepreneurs and people in policy, just everything that everybody in here is doing. So if it's the story that you came for, or if it's the accomplishments and things like that that you came to hear from me today, that's not what you're going to get. But if you want to know how or why I'm standing here in front of you, now that's a conversation. And that conversation and that story goes like this. In 2011, I decided that I wanted to become a motivational speaker. What did I do? It takes 3 things in order to build your brand and start building your brand up. Number 1, identify what you're good at. When I was still a teenager, it's a young lady in this room who I would mentor and who she tells me now, which I didn't know. I was the first person to tell her that she was going to be somebody that she could go to college and that she could finish and fulfill all of her dreams. That's what I was doing way back when. That was my talent. So I identified that. The young lady is right here, Tiara, Miss Pedigree, Walker Pedigree. But I was telling her these things way back then and also coaching my friends and things like that. So the number 1 thing that you're going to do in order to become your dreams, in order to build your brand, is you're going to identify what you're good at. Secondly, you're going to study it. Before becoming a speaker, I decided I was going to study it. I went to the library. I checked out 15 books. I literally read hundreds of articles on how to become a speaker, how to be a speaker. What does the speaking business look like? And then I went and interviewed and worked for different speakers so that I really understood the ins and outs of this industry. Right? And the third thing that I did is I used my network. In 2007, like Shalita said, I had the opportunity to go to the first Thanksgiving on Capitol Hill with Foster Care Alumni of America. How did I get there? Missy Stensley. I love Missy Stensley. So when Mrs. Stensley, she had introduced me to FCAA. She told me that I had to be a member. I went to the conference there in Atlanta. It's my life. And I just happened to just walk up there because it was in Atlanta and I lived in Atlanta. And Miss Evelyn, Miss E, told me that I had to go to the conference, who was a mentor when I was younger. And so I show up to the conference. Missy tells me that I have to be there. Then shortly thereafter, in November, there's Thanksgiving on Capitol Hill. I meet Shalita, and I meet Lupe, and I meet other alumni. And I'm like, man, I hate foster care. But that was the first time, but I love that experience. That was the first time that I ever felt in my life, at that point, 23, in my 23 years, dang, I just told you my age. In my 23 years, that was the first time I ever felt 100% at home. That I wasn't gonna be judged, you know, for my Thanksgiving or my Christmas or birthday experiences, or just the way that I felt growing up, the extra responsibility that I had to take on, et cetera, and always having to be worried about being moved somewhere else. And I really cherished that moment. But when it was time to become a speaker, I said, you know what? What's something that I know that I'm an expert at? And it was foster care. So I pick up the phone and I call Lupe in May. I say, Lupe, you know what? I really want to become a professional speaker. And she says, really, bro? I said, yeah, I've been studying it. I've been talking to some speakers. I really think I can do it. She said, okay. Lupe calls me up in June and says, hey, you know what? I got a speaking opportunity for you. We don't pay much, but it's in front of 300 kids in Oklahoma. Will you do it? Absolutely. I'm excited. Yes, I will be there. Whatever you need. Just tell me where to show up. How can we make this happen? Boom, the launch of my speaking career. Alumni. Barbara? Where's Barb at? Barbara Huggins. Another one. Barb and I spoke. What was that, 2012, Barb? 2012, Barb and I spoke. I'm just calling around, trying to speak. I just want to speak. I want to speak. Spoke for the Pennsylvania ILC. Who hooked it up? Foster care alum. When I first came out with my book, 10 Ways Anyone Can Graduate College Debt Free. If you're in college, I have free copies for you. I only brought 3, but I'll ship them to you. Who wrote one of my first articles on my book? Chris with Foster Focus magazine. So, yeah, you did. Yeah, it's been a while.
I write a lot of stuff.
Right, yeah, you write a lot of stuff. But the point that I'm making is the power of the people in this room. And people know that if you're a foster kid and you're like, oh, I'm going to do this, then look at Shalita O'Neal. Look at this conference. Yeah. Shalita told me about this conference a while ago. I'm like, Shalita, you sure? I'm like, if you all in, I'm all in. But we ain't going to do no half-stepping. And she's like, I don't know how I'm going to do it. I'm a mother. I'm a wife. I'm running my for-profit, non-profit, doing some other stuff. What you saying? Selling Mary Kay or something? I mean, she's like a superhero. She's doing all this other stuff, and she's like, it's going to happen. I'm like, you know what? If you say it's done, then it's done. That's because I understand her character. We have that commonality. So I think it's just important for us to value that here while we're here. Yeah. And lastly, I just want to tell you a story, a real quick story of how I made the basketball team in college. So I got to college and I decided that I was going to play on the team. This is what I do. I played in high school. I was supposed to go to Division I college, but the college that I ended up going to was Division II AA. I can do this. And so I go to school. About 2 weeks in, I go and find, no, actually the first weekend, I go and find the guys who are on the team. I'm like, hey, any of y'all want to play one-on-one? We can do this. And they're like, man, we're not playing against you. What are you talking about? You're not even on the team. I'm like, all right, that's cool. And so I go outside, I go in front of my dorm, and we have a court there, and then we have like a fence lined around it. And around the fence, that's where we had female dorms. So I stayed in an all-male dorm called Brawley Hall. Then we had a female dorm over here called Pfeiffer, another one called Myrner, and another one called Holmes. And so the girls would come out and they would watch us play basketball. So we're there, we're playing every single day. I mean, we hooping it up. And every time I see one of the basketball players from the team around campus, I'm like, hey man, I want to play ball. When can we play? When are you guys going to the gym? Et cetera, et cetera. So I'm chasing them down. They're like, nah man, we're not going to listen to you. I'm like, all right, you guys are going to learn. Because every time I set Every time we set, as foster care children, we set our minds to something, what? It happens, right? So in my mind, I have my goal set. I'm going to make this team, right? What was my goal? I'm going to make this team, right? So I'm saying to myself, man, you know what? I know the tryouts are probably like in a month or so. Let me go ahead and start getting ready. So every day, of course, we went out there in front of the dorm and we played basketball. And then when we weren't playing basketball there, we would go to this gym in Atlanta called Run and Shoot. And in Run and Shoot, we'd be there from about 10 to 3 a.m. and then get up and go to class at 8 a.m. So dedicated. But then I said, you know, I need to take it a step further. So then I enrolled my hall director, Mr. Moffitt. He played basketball in college in Washington. So I used to go and wake him up in the morning. So I go knocking on his door, boom, 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 boom. He'd take about 10 minutes to come. I'm just stop, boom, boom, boom. And he comes, cresting his eyes like, all right, man, I'll be ready in 5 minutes. Like, all right, cool. So I go back to my room, go get the ball, get ready, come back to his door, boom, boom, boom. Take another 10 minutes. He come to the door, like, all right, man, seriously, I'm coming. I'm like, come on, bro, I'm trying to make the team here. And so I'll wait in the door at that point because then I'm not going to keep wasting time going back and forth with this guy. So we go out there and we start doing drills. And so me and Mr. Moffitt, he passed me the ball, I go, take a jump shot. Then we do layup drills. Then he say, all right, now I want to see you dunking. So, boom, boom. And every day we would do this, every single morning, all the way up until the day of tryouts. Here we go, it's the day of tryouts, y'all. Ready, because you know in my mind I got my goal set. What's my goal? I'm gonna make this team, right? Like, all right, cool. So I go in the gym. I remember it like it was yesterday. I go in the gym. I'm looking around. Got the guys over here. Some of them are stretching. Got some guys matched from head to toe. Like, who goes in the gym matched from head to toe? That's not how we play ball. Okay. And then you got this one guy who's just shooting from half court. I'm saying to myself, is the coach only gonna put him in with 3 seconds left on the clock? Like he's just gonna be the permanent half court shooter? They're telling me to hurry up, y'all. And so we go, and so tryouts start, layup line. We go, I'm just laying the ball up. I can dunk from outside the key, but I'm just laying the ball up. Get the ball, go to the other side, then we do on the other side, boom. Just laying it up, kind of just relaxing, like coasting. I was supposed to go D1. I know I'm gonna make this team. This is gonna happen. And so we get around to the scrimmaging, which is basically where we play team ball, 5-on-5. So we're playing 5-on-5, and I'm saying to myself, all right, cool. Coming down the court, passing the ball away, you know, getting my teammates involved, getting everybody in the mix. And then we win our scrimmage, and then we get sidelined. So we're sitting on the side, and I'm saying, all right, man, you know what? Now's the time. It's time to turn up. It's time to make this happen, right? I've been chilling, you know what I mean? Now I'm about to show these guys, like it's about to go down. So the other team, they finish up. Then the coach blows his whistle. And he says, all right, I want all you guys to line up over there. And so we line up. I'm like, oh, we about to do these running drills? This is nothing. I got this. And then coach looks, and then the rest of the team was already in the gym. So they're looking at me, I'm looking at them, I'm like, yeah. Y'all know what's about to happen. I'm taking your spot. I'm gonna take your spot. Like somebody's gonna make some room for me. And the coach, he points. Right next to me is a guy who's like 6'6", like built like a house. Next to me, there's this other guy, a little bit shorter, a little pudgier. Then next to him is like this other guy that's like 6'1". I'm 6 feet, a little bit taller, nothing though. And then the coach, he points out, he says, all right, you, and you, take a step back. And I'm looking up to my right, the guy 6'6", built like a house, he takes a step back. Like a guy like 5 people down takes a step back, and some other person way down, they take a step back. And I'm like, oh, it sucks to be them, because you know what I'm saying, it's time to run. And he says, the rest of you guys can go home. Hold on, what? Me, Kevin Brown, supposed to play D1. I didn't make this team. This is Division II AA. And I couldn't believe it. I was the last person to leave that gym that day. And I'm thinking to myself, how did I not make this team? How is this even happening? So I'm going back, and I take a long way to get back to my dormitory because I'm embarrassed because, you know, I've been playing ball in front of all the girls for the last month. You know what I mean? And I've been working out every single morning to do this. Conditioning, etc. and in the weight room. And then I say, you know what? I got my mind made up. This is my goal. My goal is I'm gonna make this team. So what do? I decide, let me go ahead and be proactive. So I'll go up to the coach's office the next day. I gotta walk all the way up this hill, into the building, down the stairs, and around, and make a left. And I'm like, Coach, there must have been some kind of mistake. My name is Kevin Brown. I need to be on your team. He's like, no. I'm like, Coach, then you must have made a mistake. I need to be on the team. He's like, no. All right. So I walk out the gym, back down to campus. Then the next day, I go right back up there. And I say to Coach, hey, Coach, how you doing? My name is Kevin Brown. I should be on your basketball team. I believe that I need another tryout. And he looks at me and he's like, we already have our team. I'm sorry, you didn't show me anything in tryouts. I'm like, man, that was a mistake, et cetera, et cetera. No. So I go literally to this man's office for the first 4 or 5 months, trying to get back on that team. And it hurt going to go see him at that see the players play at the basketball games. And by the end of the semester, when I kept going to his office, even if I saw him on campus, I'd be like, hey, Coach, how you doing, Kevin Brown? I'm gonna be playing for you next year. Just want you to know that. And he would say to me, I admire your tenacity, son, but now's not the time. At the end of the semester, he said, I want you to go and suit up and be with my boys. And so I finally made it onto the basketball team. And I'm not telling you the story because I made it onto the team. I'm telling you the story because I didn't take advantage or use my full potential initially. I could have been on the team. I could have been to my goal of making the team. But I didn't put my best foot forward. I didn't step up. I used all my networks. I had Mr. Moffitt up in the morning working out with me. Right? I had so many people involved and enrolled in my process, and then I decided that I wasn't going to show up for myself when it was time. So I ask you this, how often do you do that to yourself? Do you not show up and use your full potential? Even if you decide not to answer, I just want you to know, and I'm telling you, that this conference will not be one of those times. Everybody in here needs to speak to each other, and we need to network, and we need to follow up like we say we're gonna follow up with an email or a phone call. And if you feel like they're not gonna pick up the phone, get their personal cell phone number. But the power of the alumni in this room is real. I wouldn't be on an international stage without the help of the alumni in this room. Not people who aren't foster care alumni. The alumni in this room literally have helped me build my career. So let's help each other build our careers. And now I'm just gonna ask for everybody to get up. Wake up, get up, stand up for your life. And now go across to the room and introduce yourself to somebody that you don't know. 2 people. Nobody knows everybody in here.